Cal, him in Tennessee, and wants to know about drawing the lines between live and let live and dangerous people. Welcome, Cal. How are you?
Hi. So,
hey, Cal.
my question is, hello. All right.
Go ahead, Cal.
Sorry, but go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. All right. So my question is a matter of tolerance, because it seems that America in particular is in a place where we have this dangerous balance between being a tolerant society and sharing truth, right? So we have to have shared truth, and we need to be a tolerant society. So where do we draw the line of tolerance of things that we know that are not true, that people believe, versus things that people believe that are not true are absolutely dangerous? And mostly this is in reference to the first caller who had dangerous beliefs that should not be platformed. But then you bring up like Bigfoot. Okay, so what if someone believes in Bigfoot? Who are they hurting?
What do you mean by shared truths? I guess I want to point back to that opening phrase you used. What shared truths mean?
Okay. Shared truth would be like, for example, the fact that Joe Biden won the election, and how one feels about that, how one responds to that, how one plans to vote in the future is opinion. But the fact is the fact. And if we don't have that fact, if we don't share that fact, we do not have truth. If we don't have truth, we don't have trust. If we don't have trust, we don't have the rule of law.
Well, things are either true or they're not. So
right.
this
idea. What he's saying, Dave, is that the three of us right here, we have a shared truth. And that is,
I see what you mean.
That the three of us agree that it is true that vaccines are effective.
That Biden won the election.
And or that Biden won the election. There are people who don't share that truth.
Gotcha.
Okay. He's not suggesting.
I was misunderstanding that. Yes. Thank you.
There are personal individual truths.
Yeah. Like Kellyanne Conway saying that there are different truths. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. Right. So, yeah. So what's your response to the tolerance view, Matt?
So for me, the question is really complicated. I don't think we're going to have a complete answer, but I think it takes a couple different forms, which is at the individual level, like, who am I going to tolerate having a conversation with privately? That's a line. Who I'm going to tolerate spouting this crap in my house is a different line. Who I'm going to tolerate putting on the show where we've got a platform is probably a different thing. And those are all from an individual, or in some cases, a small group sense where, like, for example, the ACA has certain policies. If somebody gets on and tries to be, racist or whatever, we're just dumping that call and moving on. But it's different at the level of society. And really the question that Cal's asking, which I hate to do this, is an ought question, because Cal, you're asking, where should we draw the line? And I don't know that there's an actual answer to that. I know what my thing is, and that I start drawing a line. Like, I'll block people on Twitter all day long, just for my own sanity. Like, it's not just because they disagree with me or whatever. I talk to people on Twitter and other places who disagree with me. But if there's someone who's demonstrated that they're no longer like I'm going to keep talking to this person, and I'm going to waste the rest of the day talking to this one person, and I know that I'm not going to get anywhere, I will block them just to save me the time. There are other people who, when they express a particular idea, I will block them as well. This week, for example, I was accused of hogging the microphone in the stage because I posted that if you think that me blocking you on Twitter is me silencing you, then you never had a voice of your own at all. And Twitter, I can't silence anybody on Twitter. I don't have the ability to. You can all go get a Twitter. You can a Twitter account. You can post wherever you want. I can't silence anybody on Twitter. All I can do is block them. And what that does is it prevents me from seeing it, and it doesn't even prevent them from addressing the other people who are followers of me. That's it. But I was accused for blocking people of silencing them, and I was like, that's just absolutely asinine. And then somebody came back and was like, well, this is the problem. You're hogging the mic and the stage or whatever. draw lines for me personally on Twitter for lots of different reasons wherever I want to. That's separate from what we as a society to do and what we can do in public. And I don't know the right answer for the rest of them.
What are your thoughts on that, Cal? In terms of tolerating?
I do the same thing on Twitter. Actually, I do the same thing on Twitter. And it is absurd, of course, for anyone to say that blocking someone is silencing someone, because implicit in that is that you're saying that I deserve access to your fan base, your audience, whoever it is. That's absurd. My take, I think, is like what a demonstrable harm being caused. If a person is spouting belief, wherever they are, that is demonstrably causing harm, that's where you draw the line. But that's where it becomes kind of gray. Like I was trying to bracket this, to say that vaccines are fake, that is demonstrably harmful, especially in the middle of the pandemic, versus a person who believes Bigfoot might be real. Well, they're just kind of having fun, because, anyone who knows really anything about ecosystems knows that such a creature would leave obvious traces, so it's a demonstrably false belief, but one that does not cause harm. So maybe in between those two,
well, here's the, I think that,
go ahead.
I think I agree, but go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I think I want to speak to that, because I used to hold the position, for instance, in religion, that evangelicalism, fundamentalism does cause harm, and that there are more benign forms of religion that don't cause harm. And then the same thing with societal beliefs. I'm sorry?
To interject, yes, that's exactly where I exist as a secular Buddhist, a person who has no God belief, but who is religious. I do hold beliefs that other people may not agree with, but are stating truths about the universe and our existence, but that not everyone will agree with, but also I don't believe cause harm. And so and coming from the very religious evangelical background, what I was stepping away from, I was so because they cause harm.
Yeah.
So
but my point was that there are things that we might not implicitly think cause harm, but when people get used to believing things that aren't true, then they're susceptible for things that might come down the pike, like Donald Trump's still president, and that do cause harm, like the insurrection on January 6th.
Right.
So there are the position that we want to believe as many true things as possible holds whether those beliefs are harmful or not, because we want to get used to only believing things that can be demonstrated as being true. And if we get used to just believing things because we want to, whether they're harmful or not, then we've gotten ourselves open up to the ideas that may come down the pike later that are going to prove themselves to be harmful.
Yeah, I think I agree now, in that when there's demonstrable harm, of course, that's when we should act. I think that's the primary factor for all of this. And I've tried to be pretty consistent about that. And that's why I was talking about me personally blocking someone is completely different from what we do as a group or what we do as a society, et cetera. Mm-hmm. But it's worth pointing out that every single person, how much harm is there in a flat earth belief? Well, I don't know specifically, but I do know that the heuristic models inside someone's head that leads them to the conclusion that the earth is flat or that Bigfoot is real, there's been an error somewhere. And I don't think it's safe to say that error in evaluating situations is likely to be held exclusively to that non-harmful position. I think it is, and Dave mentioned this as well, that it's going to be carried over potentially into other things. But I draw the line at probably discrete opinions and views and how much harm I think they're going to do. So we have a show, Truth Wanted, on Friday nights. I love Dan. I love the show. I love Aaron. I love the people who are on it. And it's where they'll get calls about cryptozoology and stuff like that. And I would hope that we're trying to do the right thing by we want people to realize that even if you believe something that's ridiculous, you're not necessarily a pariah. and you shouldn't necessarily be excluded from civil discourse and everything else, but that we're going to attack and address those positions as best we can. I think to get back to what I suspect the crux of your question is how do we build a better society, allowing people to have the freedom to believe things and the freedom to express those beliefs when some of those beliefs are absolutely going to harm society if they become popular beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, I don't know. I think we have to just keep doing what we're doing. If you told me that, in 2021, I'd be dealing with people who think birds aren't real and the earth is flat, and taking a call from someone who legitimately thinks vaccines don't work, I don't know if I would have believed it, 10 years ago. I don't have any better answer than that, Cal. I hope that.
Your thoughts, Cal?
Yeah. Well, and I think that's actually really an excellent answer. I mean, because I don't know, and you just told me you don't know. But this is exactly like what I mean is that this is a gray area, and one that we need to navigate intentionally, empathetically, but with a focus on truth and harm prevention. So I suppose what my answer would have been, like if I had posed it to me, is I guess something you were getting at, which is what like individual beliefs discreetly cause harm directly should not be tolerated at all, right? But that beliefs that don't immediately cause harm, but that down the road predispose people towards harmful beliefs, or that needs to be engaged with. So it seems to be quite a quick reversal right there, whereas there are some conspiracy theories, and basically everything we're talking about here is these are all conspiracy theories, which are like lies that need more lies to compound them, to support them. A conspiracy theory that causes immediate harm, a Holocaust denial, don't tolerate, don't even listen, don't platform them. But a conspiracy theory like Bigfoot is, well, start asking, well, why do you think? And encourage a person to go out and experiment and look.
There's another model,
pretty
Cal.
Quick reversal there.
There's another model where this comes up, which is, at what point does someone thinking about committing a crime turn into something we should take action on? And you could be sitting around as a hobby planning the perfect murder or the perfect robbery in your head. And maybe you're doing it because you want to write novels that do those things. And so you're never going to be a harm to anybody. You're just coming up with new cool ways to do stuff and intrigue people for a story. But at some point, we have murder. And then some point prior to that, we have potentially conspiracy to commit murder. And then at some point prior to that, we have something that's not conspiracy to commit murder. And it's not always easy to figure out where to draw those lines. And I think we're trying to draw a similar line with this question. And I don't know that we're going to get any further, but we are like completely out of time. And I got 2 more callers to get to. So I thank you for the call, Cal, and I will do some more thinking on it, but I don't have a better answer today.
Good question, though, Cal. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.